Today's vlog is not about football, even though at the beginning it may seem so, but stick with it and you'll get the point.
Devastated. Absolutely devastated.
Genuinely gutted. Heartbroken. Heartbroken is an understatement.
Or the story of Irish football. Just coming up short.
I watched the Irish football team last night, at least the second half. I got rid of our TV some years ago, so I watched it online. It was the World Cup playoff semi-final and Ireland were winning right up to the final minutes. And then they did what they historically seem to do best, give a goal away just when the finish line is in sight. I used to travel to Dublin to most of their games up until the Trapattoni era ended. I lost interest after that. So last night it was after 10 p.m. when the final whistle went, and in this case the game was heading to extra time with the possibility of a penalty shootout. In a former life I would have stayed with the adrenaline of it all, or the thought of a nail-biting shootout and the tension that would have brought. However, I did something unusual that would have horrified my former self. I switched off the projector and rolled up the screen, which revealed my piano behind it. In front of me, on the lid of my piano, was a whiteboard that I had put up earlier, and on it was written some tasks that I had done. I picked up an eraser, and then I just wiped all those out on the board, and just thought about the main things that I had to get done the next day. In the meantime, the game was about to move into extra time, and it was now about 10:15 p.m. I had made a conscious choice. I wasn't going to watch it. I was going to leave it go. Not that there would have been anything bad about sitting back to let it all play out and partaking in that experience, but I knew that my cortisol levels would have boiled over if I continued. This would in turn have led to a poor night's sleep, or the possibility of one. So what, you might say? What's the big deal? What harm would it do? Maybe you're right, and it wouldn't have done any harm at all. But that wasn't the point. The point is that sometimes certain activities can own you and you become their slave. You give in to their demands, which always seem plausible. It's only this once, the voice tries to coax you. Come on, don't be a stick in the mud. You know the voice I'm talking about. I was home alone, so there was no one to answer to. It wouldn't have been a big deal. It was, however, at this moment that a switch flipped in my mind. I wanted to prove to myself that I'm not a slave to such things, that I'm in control and have the power to turn my back on these enticements. I don't need all this tension at this hour of the night, I thought, and so I powered down all the devices and put away the remotes. I carefully wrote tomorrow's date at the top of my whiteboard in red, and then in black wrote the list of tasks that were ahead of me the next day, the ones I wanted to get done. I looked over them. I then went to the kitchen and cleaned the worktop down and got everything back to ready for the morning. I was winding down, and within a few minutes I had practically forgotten about the game. At one point, that little voice encouraged me to have a quick peek at the phone to see what was happening. No, I replied. I don't need that. I had a point to prove to myself. There's always something to distract us in our short lives, and the next thing you know, we've distracted our whole life away unconsciously. I lay in bed and did some reading, by which point I'd totally forgotten about the game, because that's all it was, a game, with no eternal consequences. 40,000 young people were murdered on the streets of Iran in recent weeks, and so why would I allow a football game to take up so much energy in my mind, as if the future of the world depended on it? And so I didn't. I just switched out the light, thanked God for getting me through that day, and thought about the things that really mattered to me. And then I fell asleep.